Hello, Stitchy friends! How are you all doing? Today is Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. This is Flosstube number 51. My name is Andrew. This is my dog Winston, who's still a little sleepy this morning. You have stumbled upon The Runner Stitcher, my channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey, but also a little bit about running and sort of mixing the two together. So if you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see and you stick around to continue with my journey with me. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. I know there's so many excellent Flosstubers out there. It is just amazing how this community just continues to grow and new ones pop up all the time. It's amazing. But so I thank you so much for taking a little bit of your time to spend with me. It really means a lot to me. So thank you. I want to start with just a couple housekeeping things. First off is I wanted to say thank you to someone who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link below. And this week that was my mom. How cute is that? So my mom took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link and bought me a coffee, and that was so sweet. So thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. Next up, we had a giveaway last week. So the giveaway was for this chart from the Blue Flower. This is called In Praise of Pollinators. And I asked you to use the comment praise if you would like to win this chart. There were 73 comments, so 73 people entered, and I'll put a picture up here of the winner's comment, but the winner is Denise Gray 9106. So Denise, congratulations, you are the winner. If you could go ahead and send me an email, my email address will be linked down below, but it's therunnerstitcher@gmail.com. If you could go ahead and send me an email with your mailing address, I will try to get this out maybe to you before StitchCon. If not, I will get it to you after I've returned. But congratulations. Okay, then let's jump into my marathon stitching / training. So as you know, I'm hosting the hashtag Whip Into Shape challenge, where I've challenged each of you to stitch 10 stitches for every mile that I run in my marathon training this season. And it's been amazing. If you don't count your stitches, you can stitch for the amount of time that I'm running as well. And everybody's kind of been making it their own to sort of fit with what they can do and what they want to do, which has been awesome. The main goal was to find a project that you have that really we wanted to see some progress on and kind of chip away at it over the next couple of months. And by the end, we'll see some really good progress. So no matter how you're doing it or how you're shaping it up, it's perfect. I'm just so happy that all of you are coming along for the ride and support. So we just finished week 5, 5 weeks into the training. Last week I did 30 miles, which meant 300 stitches. And total now I'm at 154.1 miles. That's 1,541 stitches. And I ran for 22 hours, 29 minutes, and 14 seconds. That's a lot. When you add that all up, I was like, wow, 22 hours. I've never really tracked my time like this before to see how long I'm actually running total. So it definitely is a time commitment to do this. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. You know, now that we're 5 weeks into the training, this is where it really starts getting tough. So if you're coming along for the challenge, if you've been stitching all this time, I hope you had like a good base level training, because it is about to ramp up and it's going to get more difficult. This is also when the sort of fun of the new challenge or the new marathon training program kind of wears off a little bit, and you really have to kind of dig in and just power through it. It does get more challenging because the runs on the weekend get a lot longer. So stick with me. We got this. we can do it. You can stitch along and I'll be running. But yeah, just be aware that the coming weeks, it's usually about 2 weeks that it keeps ramping up, and then we'll have one sort of, calmer week where it'll be less miles. So definitely looking forward to getting into the thick of the training, and we'll just keep going. But so I will talk about my piece that I'm stitching on. This is The Fruits of Plenty. This is a piece by Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. Here's what this is going to look like. It is absolutely beautiful, and I have been loving seeing some consistent progress on this from from when I started this challenge. This piece, it always seemed to come out in like chunks where I'd work on it a bunch at a time, and then it would go away for months, and then I would pull it out and put in a bunch of stitches. So this has been nice to see consistent progress on it, and yeah, really been enjoying that. So since the last time you saw me, I have added 508 stitches. That puts me at 47.71%. Now, I am a little bit ahead of the game. I did stitch technically what I ran this morning, 4 miles, and what I'm going to run tomorrow, 7 miles. Also, before I show you the piece, I have been sort of switching the days around a lot. And the reason for that is because I am going to StitchCon weekend A, which is this week. So I'll be leaving on Thursday morning, and I really wanted to have most of the time at StitchCon just be rest days because I wanted to focus on stitching and being present at the event, and I didn't really want running to take away from that. So I've been kind of moving my days around to move all my rest days in line at StitchCon. So apologies if you missed those changes. The good thing is I don't usually change the amount of miles. It's just the days that I'm running them on. So if you're going by the weekly totals, you'll still be fine. You'll still catch up, and it'll all be good. But that's why I've been kind of moving things around on you. Okay, so I will put a picture in here of where it was when I started the challenge so we can see how far we've gotten since the challenge kind of happened. And here is where I'm at now. It's looking really good. All right, and so what I stitched on this time was more in this section right here. So I've added in, I've added in this bird here, I believe, and then I brought all these vines down further on that side. I also filled out the inner ring of this motif here, so you can see how there's 2 borders. The inner one I had not done before. So now that's done. That is ready to fill in the center motif there. The thing is, so there's 2 of those spots, one right there and then one below it. And Jacob in his pattern gives a bunch of different options for the house, which is the bottom section that goes down here. And I'm trying to decide, there's definitely one house that I'm stitching for sure, but I'm trying to decide, do I want to replace this up here with a different house that he has, or do I want to keep it with the tree that is currently there? So I need to make that decision, but in the meantime, I'll just keep kind of stitching around it. This is stitched on a 32 count smoky white, which is one of the Zweigart printed fabrics, and I'm stitching it 2/2 with 2 DMC. I believe it's 890 and 420, 320. So yeah, I'm now at 47.71%, which is awesome because then at the end of this challenge, I will definitely be over 50%, which will feel like a huge accomplishment on a piece like this. So really enjoying that. And speaking of marathon training and running marathons, I did want to give a quick shout out to Dana. Dana's channel is Gemstone Stitches, and highly recommend you go checking out her channel. She has some amazing projects that she's working on. Her latest video shared a Joan Elliott, it's kind of like a cut-through house where you can see through the house and the things that are going on inside the house. It is beautiful. She's also got a lot of full coverage. She's got a stocking that she's working on, just really amazing projects. But the reason I'm shouting her out today is Dana on her last video just shared the marathon that she ran, her first marathon. And hearing her story was just so awesome of how she got there and she finally completed it and accomplished that goal of hers. So definitely go check her out, and at the very least just go to her channel and give her a huge congratulations on that marathon accomplishment, because it is pretty awesome, but really inspiring to hear her story as well. So Dana, congratulations on your finish, and thanks so much for sharing your stitching art too. You have some really lovely projects. Okay, the next thing I wanted to do with housekeeping was I wanted to share a little bit of stitchy kindness. So let me grab that. So I received a lovely package in the mail from a viewer named Charlie, and thank you so much. I can't say thank you enough. I know I already said that to you personally, but just thank you here as well. Charlie sent this lovely Halloween card with a great note inside. It's a pop-up card, so it's got this cool design inside. I loved it so much. And Charlie sent a couple of different things. So we've got this floss ring here with these heart floss drops that are super cute. I will definitely be using these. I'll find a project for them. A few skeins of floss as well. Also sent this grime guard, which I've never used one before, but I've always talked about having one. And so I love these colors, perfect for Pride. And thank you. I will be using that as well. He also sent a chart from the Drawn Thread. This is called Trick or Treat. And I don't think I've ever stitched anything from the Drawn Thread, but this pattern is really cute. So I might have to pull this out some Halloween and get stitching on it. Very nice pattern. But then the cream of the crop that Charlie sent was this beautiful little finished piece in this frame. And I absolutely love it. So you can see here the piece has runners, just their legs and shoes, but running. And then the stitching at the top, it says, keep running, always keep stitching, be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that that's sort of my tagline at the end of the videos, how I close out each video. And that just meant so much to me that Charlie stitched all of this for me and sort of wrote this on the frame. It's absolutely beautiful. And the stitching is wonderful. Like, you can see how perfect each of those stitches look. It's just really great, especially with all the back stitching. I love these socks here. I have a couple pairs like that. So yeah, that was very, very kind, very sweet. And yeah, I can't say thank you enough. So I will definitely be putting that up in my room somewhere. All right, I think that's all the sort of announcements or housekeeping things I had at the moment. So let's jump into my stitching. So I have 5 whips to share with you. Whips are works in progress. These are the pieces that I currently worked on in the last week since we spoke. And I was able to add 4,385 stitches total. So it was a very good stitching week for me. I had a lot of fun with what I was working on. The first piece I'm going to start with is temperature stitching. So as you know, I have 3 pieces that I've assigned random numbers between 0 and 10. And when the number is called with the high of the temperature that day, I stitch on that project for 100 stitches. So last week, the first one we had was Autumn is as Joyful. This is by Lila Studio. Here is what this is going to look like. I'm still in this corner up here. And yeah, this was only called for one day, so 100 stitches, but every little bit counts, right? I'll put a picture up here where I was when I started. You might not see too much difference because, again, it was only 100 stitches, but I was able to add in 111 stitches. And what I worked on this time was, I believe, this motif here. So I think I had this started on this side right here, but I brought this border all the way across to the side and added a little bit of the second border there for that Quaker motif. And that's what I worked on. That was 118 stitches, so that puts me at 16.92% on this piece. I am stitching this on a 40 count Winter's Brew by R&R Reproductions, and I'm using the Vicky Clayton Silk Pack conversion, which I absolutely love. I love these colors so much, and really been fun to pull this out. So this has a couple more days to go before it meets its goal for temperature stitching, so you'll keep seeing this one. All right, the next temperature piece is Put a Bird on It. This is by Modern Folk Embroidery. Here is what a version of this is going to look like. Mine is a little bit different, which you'll see shortly. This was also only called for one day, so again, only roughly 100 stitches, so you might not see too much of a difference, but I'll put a picture in here of where I was when I started. And basically, what I worked on this time was this motif here. So I hadn't filled out a lot of this on the side here and all the way down. So I kind of completed the basic motif there. Now there is, I think, still a little bit to go in the front of this flower right here. There might be a few more petals that go in here, so I have not completed that fully. So that is where I'll work at next time. But this is just looking really, really fun. And this was, I added 134 stitches. That puts me at 73.92%. So really itching close to the 75% mark, which is just awesome. So this also still has some more days left in its temperature stitching goal. And so you'll keep seeing this, but the next time I pull it out, I will finish this motif first, and then not sure where I'll go next. Maybe I'll work my way down to the bottom over here we'll see. But this is stitched on a 32 count tartan green linen that I would not recommend. It's not very easy to stitch on, and it's quite difficult, but I do love the result. I'm stitching it with Bestitch Me Silks. This is the colorway Dandelion. It's got this nice variegation between sort of golden brownish yellow to bright pale yellow, and it's just lovely. This is a stitch along hosted by EJ of the Sunshine Stitchers, and Shelia is also working on it of the Sunshine Stitchers as well. So the goal is to have this completed by December, and for me, I will hope to have this completed by November, since I know December stitching, I love to make it Christmas. But that's my goal. So definitely on track, and just like a few more focus weeks should get me there. But all right, and next up for temperature stitching was Designs for the Needle. This is called Garden Surprise, and this one actually was called for 5 days. So that meant 500 stitches on this piece, which is my Witch Whip piece. So that was a lot of fun to pull out and get some progress on. And I'll pop a little clip in here of where I was when I started. Here is my starting point for Garden Surprise, the kit from Designs for the Needle. And yeah, I'm excited to be working on this for temperature stitching. It should get about 500 stitches, and you will see it now. And here is where I got to now. So I made a lot of progress. I worked on this for 646 stitches, so I went a little over the called for, but that puts me at 62.24% of the piece, not including all the back stitching, because as you can see in the mouse at the top, there is a lot of back stitching. Even in the flower, I've done that already, but there will be back stitching around this flower pot here, and this is the start of the sort of garden shovel here that will get back stitched. But again, a lot of fun to work on. The bucket or the flower pot was so much fun because it was nice kind of block stitching, but I really loved the effect. Like you can really tell that it's a flower pot turned upside down, and yeah, I love that. So this is just a wonderful piece. I'm really enjoying it, especially for springtime. I know spring is ending soon, but I'm gonna probably just keep working on this just because it's cute. And so this is my Witch Whip piece for temperature stitching, which is a project that you pick for me. And the goal for that, there's only one more day left. So when we get into plans, you'll see whether or not it's time to pick a new Witch Whip. All right, and the next whip I worked on was Saga. This is by Long Dog Samplers. Here is what this piece is going to look like. And there are a number of Flosstubers working on this right now. Stuart from Stuart in Stitches is working on this for the hashtag Whip into Shape. So definitely check out his channel if you want to see Saga in a beautiful red color. Jason from Jason X Stitches is also working on this. His is beautiful and very tiny stitches, but there's a lot of people working on it. It's a lovely piece. It's a lot of fun, and I'm happy to have some company joining me in. But since the last time you saw it, I was able to add in 603 stitches, and that puts me at 38.18%. So I will put a picture in here of where I was when I started this week. All right, here is my starting point for Saga. So I will be working in this next arch here, hopefully completing more of the zebra, and we'll see how far I can get this week. And last week you got the story of all the different animals that we're trying to fit in this one little tiny crossing. And so here is where we are now. So you will see that I have now completed the zebra head and the rest of the body. I do have the zebra's front legs to go here, but we've got another butt that I stitched. This will be, I think it's a cat right here, and I only got this little bit stitched on that side, so that still has to come. And then there are a number of animals sort of that go under here as well to fill that out. I think there's 8 total in this arch. So far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5.5. So 2.5 more to go. But yeah, I think this looks really good. I will say though, so in the sort of front half of the zebra, there is a counting error. So somehow, well, I had done this part before, And when I came up here and started stitching this bird, because I like to stitch from the top down, so when I started stitching this bird, I put this bird in one stitch too far this direction. So when I was coming down here to meet, I realized, oh, I'm going to be one stitch over too far. And so I had to sort of figure out a way to make that connect and kind of take out a row of stitches to make it connect. I think it looks fine now. I don't think you'd be able to tell if you didn't know the difference, but there are some, it's definitely different than charted. So I'm not counting off the zebra anymore at all, except for this part is all correct. So the legs here are all fine and I can count down using that. But for this section here, I will count off of this post to ensure that it's correct. But just full disclosure. So I really love this piece. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using Silks For You PR207, and yeah, really, really just enjoying it. So here's what the full thing looks like so far. Again, I'm on the third arch, making progress little by little. All right, and I've got one final whip to share with you. And as you know, after last week, once I finished my temperature stitching and Saga and sort of all the required stitching with Fruits of Plenty, I didn't necessarily have a focus whip picked. However, I decided to jump into Halloween Quaker. This is by Lila Studio, another one of the Quakers that you like, the one you saw earlier. Here is what this one is going to look like. Absolutely beautiful. I really love these Quaker pieces. And the reason I pulled this out is because it is my whip go call for June. The goal was to reach 1,600 stitches on this piece, so I thought, why not just pull that out now and see how far I can get, see how many stitches I can put in. So I'll pop a picture in here of what it looked like when I started, and I will show you where I'm at now. So I got a lot done. I ended up adding 2,375 stitches, and that puts me at 26.11%. So I'm now over 25% done on this piece. I think the last time you saw me, I had this no. Did I have this motif done? No, I don't think I had this motif done. I think I just had this one, the bats, the witch, and then part of this motif. So I was able to finish this gorgeous one here in these beautiful browns. I came over here and I finished this whole motif, which was so much fun to stitch. These little S's in the middle were just, it was so fun. The stitch path was great. The flow of it went really well. I just really enjoyed that one. And there is a little bit of variegation in that gray as well that kind of comes through. Then I got to stitch here. This is like a lime green color. I'm not sure how well that's coming through in the camera, but it's a beautiful, like, limey green color that there'll be pops of throughout this piece. So that was a lot of fun to get to. And once I worked my way over this direction, I realized I want to make sure I have enough fabric, because what I did when I started stitching this is I basically placed the witch. So I knew where I wanted the witch to be. And so I placed her first and then just kind of started stitching around her. But as I was kind of reaching this side, I thought, oh my goodness, am I going to have enough fabric? Clearly I have plenty, so I counted right, but I just started getting worried. So once I was working my way in this direction, then I just kept going with this beautiful motif here with the bird and the flowers and the vines here. Then I worked my way all the way over to the edge. This is the final edge here. With this beautiful flower. Again, you can kind of see the variegation in the gray a little bit better there. There's some really dark moments and some really lighter moments in the gray. I think because the stitches are more grouped together here, you can really see that as opposed to the variegation. It's the same gray as this piece. So, but I think you can really see it better in the flower where it's more block stitching. Then I got to come down to this super fun Quaker. And this is why I love Lila Studios Quakers, is because they're not just Quaker motifs. She finds a way to incorporate different things in them that just make them exciting to stitch. I think in the autumn one, there's one with like squirrels in it and just really fun designs that kind of go with the theme that she has here. But this one is just adorable. This little basket of pumpkin heads and I just love it. That orange floss was so much fun to put in, that orange silk. I am stitching this with the Vicky Clayton silk conversion, so some of the colors are a little bit different than what it looks like on the cover picture, but I really like the colors that Vicky has for her conversion, but that orange just gives such a lovely pop of color, and really just actually enjoyed stitching that whole motif there. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I'm super happy with where I got to. There's a lot more fun stuff to go in this piece, so I will definitely be pulling this out over the Halloween period and this fall. That'll be a lot of fun, but really happy to be at 25%. So, all right, and those were all my whips for the week. So now let's jump into plans. And plans, I don't have much because the biggest plan is I'm going to StitchCon Weekend A. I am so excited, also a little nervous, but really just excited to be going and to spend a weekend with Stitchers. This will be my first retreat ever, so I don't really know what to expect, but I'm here for it. So I'll be leaving Thursday morning to go to StitchCon and coming back on Sunday. So I don't know how much stitching I will actually get done. I am going to try to just enjoy the weekend, meeting people and stitching when I can, but not putting any goals or pressure on myself to meet any sort of goals. So for plans, I am going to try to do my temperature stitching. I looked at the chart for the coming week. I'll put up the picture here, but the witch whip piece did not get called at all. So that last day is still waiting. So maybe next week we'll get to pick a new witch whip. But the pieces that got called were Put a Bird on It got called for 4 days, and Autumn is Joyful got called for 3 days. So I'll be working on those two this week. I of course will stick with Saga to get the stitches in for that this week. And then beyond that, I don't really have a focus piece. I will probably just stitch on what I want and what I can at StitchCon. I don't really have my pieces fine-tuned yet of what I want to take, so we'll see. We'll just see what happens. The only other goal I have for the month is my other WhipGo goal, which I'll put a picture here of my WhipGo chart. That is Strawberries Forever, which was number 21, and that got called for 2,100 stitches. So I do need to work on that a lot, and it's perfect because it's Strawberry Moon Sal. Everybody's already pulling out their strawberry pieces, and I love it. That Sal is hosted by Marjorie at Marjorie Made Stitches, and it was a lot of fun last year, so I'm excited to pull it out. I would love to take that piece to StitchCon. However, it's on a scroll frame, and I don't really think that the scroll frame is the best option to take to StitchCon. So I don't think I'll be taking that piece, unfortunately. But when I get back, I might focus on that a little bit to complete that WhipGo goal. But yeah, and again, if you are coming to StitchCon as well, definitely if you see me, say hi. I would love to meet you, and yeah, just really excited to see what all it holds. So I think that's all I've got for you this week. So keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.